So we got some, I thought we would, two things. Number one, want to look at some financial information and just the yin and the yang that's going on in the market. I think we've got some great examples of it. Just how the market today really gets ahead of itself, and how fast it moves. And then I've got my one more tool that I want to talk about in kind of the little series that we're doing about different things that are out there to try and AI based that are going to try and help loan officers get in front of borrowers. Again, these are tools that you really have to have if you're going to succeed. You know, we talked about that example last week of Bed Bath and Beyond buying a mortgage company. And, you know, it's just really the landscape is changing. You see evidence of it every single week. But let's get to the market update first. Jen or Kristen, if you want to throw up a slide, forgive me, everybody. I got my Amazon readers on, and I'm doing this from my cell phone, which is not my normal MO. But so if you can see, I wanted to point out this chart. So this is the first chart we're looking at. This is the kind of the betting window, the futures market, if you will, on where the Fed funds rate is going to be. On the left axis is the different dates of the different meetings of the Federal Reserve. And across that top axis is where they expect the Fed funds rate to be. And what this tells you is really a majority of the financial bettors, right? The financial professionals have placed financial bets on the fact that the Fed is going to raise interest rates at some point in time within the next couple of meetings, in response to inflation that has kind of seeped into the marketplace, because of the drastic increase in energy prices during the Iran military conflict, which appears now to be under control, but I think everybody's holding their breath on that. So if you just go down and look at this chart, if you do the math on the chart, a majority of the people think we're going to get an increase within the next two Fed meetings. And then another majority thinks that the Fed funds rate is going to be 50 basis points higher by the March meeting of next year. So we've now got two increases priced into the market within the next 9 months due to that inflation spillover until people think they can get it under control. So how does our market react to that immediately? Let's take a look at the next slide. Of course, because we live in a counter world, so we get this information and the market rallies by 75 basis points since the last Fed meeting, because everything gets ahead of itself. I tell you what, financial markets today are amazing. I'm a little concerned. I don't want to get too wonky on this, but Kevin Warsh, the new Fed chair, when we joined each other on the meeting right after the Fed meeting, he had reduced the amount of forward guidance. So now we've got the professional bettors saying we're going to get two raises, but the market reacted to the end, hopefully the end of the Iran military conflict, and they see price of oil going down. They react immediately to the price of bonds going down. Again, everything moves in reverse on this axis. So an increasing blue line is a decrease in interest rates. So the market's bouncing back and forth. I would expect more bouncing as the market tries to find its footing. It really doesn't understand where it should be right now. If we go one more slide, we'll just take a look at our last financial slide here. So this is really hopeful. So if you look at this, the purple line is the price of oil. The blue line is the mortgage-backed securities. So you can see oil coming down almost within 5% of where it was that last week of February when we hit the low water mark for interest rates. We were basically at 6%. Everyone was getting ready for a big rally, and then the Iran conflict started. So you can see where I think oil touched $68 a barrel or $67 a barrel last week, is about 64, 65 when the conflict started. So that's what's causing our most recent bond rally, is people are thinking that inflation is going to come out of the market, that it's seeped over. I'm hopeful for that. I'm not yet 100% convinced. We need to make sure that this military action and ceasefire hold, and we need to seep that out. When inflation goes in, you can't always be sure it's going to come back out. It's a fickle business with that metric. So we're just going to have to hope for our best. How does this affect our business? I'd say two things: prospect like crazy and lock your loans. We talk a lot in this space about, I have a bias for locking. You saw little skirmishes in Iran last week. One ship gets bombed and we're going to lose 80 basis points in the market. I think that's where it is. That's always a difficult conversation to have with your borrower. So if you got them, I always like to lock them, because conversations about giving them a better interest rate if the market rallies is a hell of a lot easier than conversations about it's now going to cost you $2,100 more to get to the closing table because the market moved in the wrong direction. So that's really what the market is right now. I think we're going to have kind of a slow week as we roll into the 4th of July. I don't think that, Friday's a national holiday, so we're not going to get the jobs number. So I think we'll have a quiet week, but you never know. If something happens in Iran, I would expect the market to react quite a bit. Mm-hmm. So anyway, but I'm going to pivot now to something that I think is really, really something that everybody should keep their eye on. This is going to be my last, just at least in a little bit, talking about tools that you need to be successful. I always figure that my job as the CEO of our company, my number one job, if you boil it down into a single sentence, it's to find out where our company needs to be and hopefully get us there 6 to 12 months in advance. And so these are things that are happening in the marketplace right now. These are things that you need in order to succeed. These are tools that we've developed that are in use right now. The product that I'm going to talk about today goes live on Wednesday. It's been beta tested with great results. And I'm not saying you need these specific tools, but you need tools like this. And they are out there and they are accessible. And what you're going to see with all this technology, and really the first shot of this was when when Rocket bought Redfin for double their closing stock price. They did it to get the data. You saw it last week, what we talked about last week with Marcus Leonis in a bankrupt company buying I forget the name of the company, but he runs Bed Bath & Beyond. Their stock price is $1.11, and they spent $54 million buying a real estate company and a mortgage company. So let's take a look at this. If you recall, I talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Our company has a 24/7 pre-qual hotline. And so every single loan officer has their own unique telephone number where a borrower can call at any time. I would be picking up my phone right now, but I'm on my phone. So I'm going to do this for us older people. Can pick up the phone anytime and call the pre-qual hotline and go through a series of questions. What's your monthly income? What are your debts? Have you ever declared bankruptcy? Things like that. And see if they can get pre-approved. And if they can, it gives them a certain number. And if they cannot, there's no negative repercussion of any one of the calls. There are only two answers. There is the approval and there is the you've got to talk to the loan officer. And the system does live call transfers to the loan officer. The system sends people a live call recording. It sends them a AI summary. And most importantly, what we found in the first few months of rolling this out, 26% of the people call between 11 p.m. and 6 a.m. when they know nobody's going to pick up the phone. So there is a desire for anonymity out there. I always joke with people, I'm Catholic, right? When we go to confession, sometimes we see the priest face to face, and sometimes we go behind the veil because we're just a little too embarrassed to look at somebody while we're doing this. And this is kind of like that. Can we go to the next slide? I talked about this. Borrowers call all the time. The AI agent handles the question. This is a pre-qualification. It's not a pre-approval. The detail that is necessary in order to really give a pre-approval, the technology's not there yet. It'll be there someday soon. But this is about finding borrowers before they've done any other steps, getting to them first. We've had over $300 million of new borrowers raise their hand in this program in just 4 months. It's absolutely incredible. So we're rolling out, this is the next tool. Take a look at this. If we can get to the last slide. We are now doing a co-branded 24/7 pre-qual hotline with Realtors. So you can go to a Realtor and you can market a pre-qual hotline just for you and that Realtor. So if you're a loan officer and you've got a dozen co-branded relationships with Realtors, you'll now have 13 unique numbers. So the Realtor has one too. So every single time somebody calls, it goes through the same process. It promotes you, it promotes the Realtor. And what do you get to give to the Realtor? Hey, every time somebody calls this number, that's somebody raising their hand on your line to see if they can buy a home. That is a high quality lead. That is the apex of all the marketing that they do. So what this does, and I apologize, I just got to read this. It helps you find your borrowers first. It creates dependence from the Realtor to you. They're now dependent to you for additional leads. The best part about this is, remember, when the people get approved and they download the approval letter, they give us the ability to get their churn leads, and they give us TCPA compliance. So we can do outbound calling to them. We can do outbound automatic texting to them. It's fantastic. We asked the Realtor for the Realtor's data, okay? And this is the key. We asked the Realtor for 3 pieces of data so we can market this for them, so we can force multiply their marketing. We only need name, email address, and cell phone number. And we put that into the system. We market the number to them for the Realtor. And if we get these 3 pieces of information through other data sources, we can get the property address, we can get the mortgage amount, we can get the date mortgage closed, we can get their likely interest rate on their current mortgage. We can get all these data factors, which allow us to appear in front of them every single time they have a mortgage need, regardless of whether or not it's a refinance or a purchase. We can give it back to the Realtor. We can keep it for ourselves. We can transfer it to a new Realtor if that old Realtor stops doing business with us. This is the kind of stuff that you need to pick off the borrowers early in the process. And really, the last thing I'll say about this, and if you're interested, if you want to just put more info in the chat, I'm happy to talk about this. Just type in more info because we got a lot of information we're sharing today. But it gives you and the Realtor auto updates, but you as the loan officer get the full call transcript. You get a live text to see if you're available to take the call on a live transfer, and you get the call recording. The Realtor just gets an AI call summary and the realtor immediately gets a text from you that says, hey, Susie loan officer has just provided you with another high quality lead. Please check your email, and the information is in your email inbox, because the realtor gets that AI summary sent to them immediately. But the loan officer is at the center of this system. The loan officer is the one that gets the full call recording, the full transcript, gets the live call transfer opportunity. The realtor gets the modified version with all financial information removed. So the realtor doesn't see the financial information about that. So this system is going live. We had just like anecdotally in the beta test group, we had a loan officer do a lunch and learn on this product. Every single person in the room wanted one, and the broker pulled them out of the meeting before the meeting was done to ask that loan officer if they wanted to talk about an in-house relationship for the office. So again, these are the types of tools that you're going to need in order to succeed in the next level of what's coming. I was chatting in the pre-green room, if you will, with Chris Johnstone. I think he's still on this call. Chris will verify. This is a great tool, and I'm very proud of it. We developed this ourselves, but it's not this tool specifically. It's tools like this. You've got to have things working on your behalf, or all of your efforts that you do, they'll still produce. I'm not negative. I'm coming at this from a position of abundance, but you're never going to reach the height of your earning potential if you don't work with tools like this to put you in front of borrowers beforehand. That Marcus Leonis guy at Bed Bath & Beyond, he's going to be successful with some logarithm about, hey, you buy 4 pillows and a K-cup machine, that means you're going to want to buy a house. He's going to get in front of people, right? Rocket and Redfin, they're getting in front of people sooner and sooner all the time. You have to do that too, and the tools are out there. So keep prospecting, pay attention to your business, and definitely check out things like this, because you're going to need them to get to the high end of what you're capable of. And I know this gang is super capable.